Our special coverage continues now with a different element of today's hearing. The formal start to this House investigation into the insurrection has featured so many searing and difficult moments. We covered several and just heard from a member of the committee. But we also want to show you now Officer Harry Dunn recounting under oath what he faced that day. His words, as he originally gave them, now part of the official record. It's part of what the Congress and the nation must face. And that also includes his decision to testify explicitly about how the day's violence came with racist, hateful attacks.
No one had ever called me a while wearing the uniform of a Capitol Police officer. Another black officer later told me he had been confronted by insurrectionists in the Capitol who told him, "Put your gun down and we'll show you what kind of you really are."
We're joined now by Mark Claxton, the director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance and a retired NYPD detective. What did you think watching that testimony?
Very impactful. Actually, Ari, it was a bit more emotional than I had anticipated being affected by the testimony. I mean, I've heard some testimony about what occurred that day and have had the opportunity to speak to some officers directly involved. I wish there was a way not to even beep out the epithet. And I'll tell you why. I think it's important for people to recognize just how vile and violent and offensive and disgusting the insurrection was. And I think if we tend to kind of edit out our own reality and thereby allowing people who deny it some legs to stand on, I think it was important what the Officer Dunn expressed, and to express it in the way in which he received it so that people could really feel the impact. I think it's also important to acknowledge that the use of the epithet indicates the additional insult that the officers of color had to endure on the day of January 6th. And then also what it does is to tie in quite neatly to something that the FBI director, Christopher Wray, has testified before Congress about. And that is the threat of domestic violent extremists, particularly those who are white supremacists. And he went as far as to say that those individuals are on par with ISIS. And I don't think we've really addressed or accepted that as our official government policy, but that's what Christopher Wray indicated.
Yeah, you're talking about an FBI director who happened to be picked by Donald Trump saying that. I also appreciate your constructive criticism of how these things are aired. I'll share with viewers, we have a standards department that decides on a case-by-case basis when things are edited or bleeped. But I think you raise a very legitimate question on that case-by-case basis, because this is ugly, disgusting, abhorrent racism on the record of a kind that is a part of this nation's living history. I say living because it comes out of the racism that is in the founding documents. But here it is today in all these movements. And so we really have to be clear, as you're encouraging us and everyone to be, and accurate in what is ugly and disgusting. So I appreciate your point there. I wanted to ask you from an investigative standpoint, how much does it matter? How important is it that on day one, they're dealing with the fact that obviously this would be a crime as an insurrection if that were all it was, by which I mean simply for political ends. It would be a crime to storm the Capitol and attack officers, period. But the fact that it also brings up the evidence of a hate crime and of a white nationalist insurrection of the kind that reminds people of what we have in this country from the white Southern Rebellion. How is that important for the investigation? Because some of those early videos didn't capture all of these accounts, all those, the words and other things that show how much of this in the evidence was white terrorism.
I think once you get a fuller picture of the motivations behind much of the activities during the course of the insurrection, then you are able to establish clear lines. You can establish those clear lines as an investigator to specific or particular white supremacist organizations, to individuals who have typically or routinely espoused this divisive, racist language and have engaged in that kind of conduct. You want to be able to show that this is not some spur of the moment, random tourism going wrong, but rather that this is a deliberate, structured, organized, race-based or race-involved insurrection, and it should be prosecuted as such, or at least let's have all the facts and information so that we can identify who the culprits are and if they have ties and connections with some of these domestic violent extremists and some of these white supremacist organizations. We have to identify them. And I concur with the statements of all of the officers who said, listen, part of what we want to know is who else was involved? What other hands were involved in this particular insurrection? We want them identified and addressed and dealt with accordingly.
Yes. I also wanted to get your specific reaction to the officers testifying about facing these violent attacks from people who falsely, hypocritically claim to do the politics of supporting the blue.
A man sarcastically yelled, "Here come the boys in blue, so brave." I saw the thin blue line flag, a symbol of support for law enforcement, more than once, being carried by the terrorists as they ignored our commands and continued to assault us.
Until then, I had never seen anyone physically assault Capitol Police or MPD, let alone witness mass assaults being perpetrated on law enforcement.
There are some who express outrage when someone kneels while calling for social justice. Where are those same people expressing the outrage to condemn the violence attack on law enforcement?
Mark, I definitely wanted to give you time to speak on this. We heard the officer's account. You're, of course, a retired officer yourself. Because we get so many inflection points these days, some of them tragic, that it's hard to keep up, from the summer protests to what we've seen in COVID, to the January 6th hypocrisy, and now the Republican, the blue. An earlier guest tonight mentioned the hypocrisy of talking about law and order or the blue. Your view on all of this, because if this were a movie and they needed to show that political movement or effort was full of BS in its claims to support law enforcement, you couldn't script a more tragic and disgusting proof point of it than what's now on video and what's been shown from the 6th.
Yeah, and let's be clear about something. It's pretty simple. Blue lives are Smurfs. It's never been about police lives or that blue rhetoric and the blue wave. Really is all about something other than respecting the law and order, if you will, and the sanctity of human life, etc. Blue lives are Smurfs. Blue lines are something that you write in a paper with a blue pen. And what this has been all about and continues to be about is a political movement trying to pull in as many of these so-called blue-collar, solid blue-collar workers, even in spite of, and this is what amazes me about police, they tend to rally around these blue line nonsense things, in spite of what we're seeing here, where oftentimes those same people who were the biggest promoters of everything blue have turned their backs on you and denied you complete and total justice. It's a lesson to be learned.